We're here on this Thursday, and we're really glad that you're able to tune in and join us. Hi, Lauren. Glad to see you. Like I said, let me make some adjustments here. Hang on 1 second. I keep on forgetting to dim the lights here a bit because it's a little too bright in the kitchen with the lights all the way. So I had made my cappuccino, and as you can see this morning, and I'm glad you could make it and join us for this time of just kind of chatting and seeing how everyone's doing. Hopefully everyone's hanging in there. Hi, Janet. Great to see you. And Lisa. Hi, Lisa. So glad you're joining me this morning. And Miriam. Hi. Or I call her Pia. I always call her Pia. That's how I know her. So anyway, great to have you here. And we're just looking at another time here of Cappuccino with Father Capoverdi and looking at what's happening in the world. We really have to, as we've been doing, praying for the world. It's so important for us right now. And good morning, Jean. And DePiro wants to have you on his show. Sent you a message. Okay, I'll have to look at that. Sometimes I don't know if he sent me a message on Facebook. Sometimes I don't always see that messenger. I don't always go on there. I usually see my text messages and emails. I like text messages, but I'll call him. Absolutely. I know he's doing great work there with his radio show. Good morning, Tommaso. Great to have you on with us this morning. And Angie, hi. Yeah, I'll send you his cell. You have his cell. Okay, good. And thanks, Gene. And I'll text him. Or if you want to give him my cell, I don't know if you have my cell. But yeah, give me his cell, and that would be good. So you take a sip here of my cappuccino. Well, we know that I dropped my bottle of Pellegrino. Sorry about that. It was empty, as you can tell. I have one of those little bottles of Pellegrino, and the napkin was leaning on it. Good morning, Angie. How are you? Hope everything is going well. I just want to talk a little bit about what's going on. Well, who's putting the negative things in there? Someone just gave me a couple of angry bubbles. I don't know why. What was that was all about? Paul, great to see you. Glad you're watching. Hope everything is going well. Wonder if you guys are back in classes. I know URI began yesterday, from what I understand. And I guess most of the colleges are kind of starting to get going again. So hope you have a good semester, and let's not get, as I said, too crazy with, these masks where we're wearing them alone in the car, and when we're wearing them on campus, walking from building to building, although they may have to, it might be required that they do that, but it's just really sad. Let's see, my phone was going rough. Okay. So also, I want to mention too, what's happening lately with the news. It's incredible how the left is supplying these talking points for, their own politicians to hop on. And, you look at what the president said about, look, I downplayed it because I didn't want it to be panic. But what he meant was, of course, he downplayed not his response to the virus, but, he's not going to get up there and say, this is a terrible thing and we all need to. So I think what he was trying to say is, and unfortunately, you can't get away with nowadays trying to say things if you're a Republican or a conservative, and you will never get the benefit of the doubt. But of course, giving him the benefit of the doubt, because history is history, that what he was saying. He was saying that he was downplaying his tone, so his tone was downplayed, because he didn't want people to panic and get all upset. And so he was trying to restore calm. Like someone said on Fox, like FDR doing those fireside chats, helped people a lot. So, it was something that he said that was important for him to communicate to the people, not to panic. I downplayed it because I didn't want people to panic. His speech, he downplayed his speech, but not his actions. Look at the record and see his actions, converting a huge ship, to hospital beds, and Governor Cuomo even praising him for doing a great job in his response. Initially, we knew that wasn't going to last long. And then, of course, Fauci coming out and saying that, the president did a phenomenal job and he did everything, there was no difference between what we said and his response. So I don't know if this is going to persuade. Of course, it's not going to persuade anyone who's supporting the president. And it's going to give fodder for people who aren't supporting him, certainly, because that's what this is all about. This is the tactics of the left, because they can. I mean, let's face it. The president has a bully pulpit, but they have every network except one, almost every newspaper, major newspaper except Wall Street Journal. And Wall Street Journal, it can be a bit swampy, and it could be a bit never Trumpish, So Wall Street Journal is not necessarily, Fox and Friends news, So, I think it's important for us not to worry about this, because I think you have to add like 5 percentage points to the president on all these polls. Certainly if he's down 10, it's a problem, because between 5 and 7 or 8, you have to, add to these polls, because what they do is they put these polls out early on, because there's no way of knowing if they're true or not, that really have these wide gap numbers against Republicans. And then all of a sudden, closer to the election, they get smaller. The numbers get more tight, because they know that they don't want to be that wrong when the time of the election comes. They don't want to. They were embarrassed last time, but they felt like they needed to. In 2016, I'm sure they were like, you know what, we're probably going to catch a lot of consequences for reporting having such bad poll numbers, but we don't have a choice. We just don't want him in, and we have to really keep these numbers uneven and unauthentic, so that hopefully people will get discouraged and not, vote for Trump because they think he's too far behind. It's all designed to do that. So, so there's a friend of mine, something I like him. His name is Father Eric Andrews. He and I were in seminary together, and I like him. Like I said, we got along, I thought, very well in seminary. And I think if I saw him now, I would have a very pleasant conversation with him. And we disagree when it comes to ecclesiology of the church. We disagree when it comes to theology, systematic theology of the church. We disagree when it comes to moral theology of the church. We pretty much disagree when it comes to liturgy of the church. So, in every category, practically, we're on complete opposite ends, moral theology, systematic theology, ecclesiology. But again, I don't think there should be hostility between two people because they disagree, especially, in the priesthood. So I like him, like I said, but like his website, like his Facebook page, is constantly using these very sketchy liberal articles that only tell one side of the story and really don't give you the totality, or really aren't being completely honest, but are, again, providing fodder. And like, there are certain people who are very left of center politically who were more than happy to jump on these half-truths and these kind of things that are much more nuanced. What the president said was much more nuanced than what, of course, the left is trying to hop on. So, like I said, I please read these things of people and never get. I don't think it's worth it to be angry. Like, I don't think it's worth it to make comments and call names ad hominem like they do against the president. I mean, that, Joe Biden using ad hominems against the president, well, what is that going to lead him? I don't think that's going to lead him very far. So I don't think we should do the same tactics as well. But I think it's important for us to engage these people. If someone writes something like, oh, President Trump, downplayed the virus and that's why all these people died. Well, I would say comment, but in a very kind way, in a very polite way, like, well, wait a minute, he was trying to not cause panic in his words, but his actions, look at what he meant by that. And then you can list all the things that he's done. And then there's all these Democrats that are on record, Nancy Pelosi being in Chinatown and San Francisco saying, hey, come down, everyone. There's nothing wrong. Cuomo downplaying it and saying, this virus isn't that bad. And, we're all, we'll just can live our normal life. De Blasio saying the same thing. They all played it down. They're not played it down, but they all kind of said this, we don't think that this is going to be a problem, except the president. He didn't play it down. He said that he, didn't want people to panic. And that's why he was talking it, down to say, look, we have to do something about this, but he didn't want it to be a panic. But he was the one who was doing all the things that needed to be done. The, not allowing China, the restrictions on China to come in, and they were all criticizing him as being xenophobic. And that's what they do about the border. He's trying to protect us. Could you imagine if we had a porous border, if Hillary won and this struck, we had no wall, we had no way of protecting our border, and people were coming in without being tested and without, oh my goodness, it would imagine. And that's really, I think, what he needs to say. He needs to say, look, if this pandemic hit and Hillary Clinton was president and there was a porous border on the South where there was no restrictions whatsoever, catch and release, and no restrictions whatsoever of people coming in, and no tests, no, how many more lives would have been lost if I didn't build a wall and if I didn't make these restrictions ahead of time. I mean, that was really providential that he did that. And there were, liberals like my friend Eric Andrews is saying, well, friends of mine have died because of the virus and it's because of Trump, downplaying it. No, he didn't really downplay his actions. And secondly, imagine, Eric Andrews, if Hillary Clinton won and the border was porous where there would be anyone who wants to walking through it, and then providing them healthcare and education and everything, and not having any restrictions whatsoever to test them to see if they were, because they weren't. I mean, the border was just, they want a porous border. So, I mean, imagine how many friends you would have lost, Eric, if Hillary Clinton, you would have lost triple the amount if Hillary Clinton was president. We saved lives because of Trump. Trump saved lives because of his aggressive actions right away. So, and I politely say that because like I said, I love this guy. I really do. We were in seminary together and I respect him a lot. Like I said, I think there's a lot, he has a lot to offer. I just think he, has been in New York City too long, which I think that's, a problem that a lot of people have that are in very blue, states, like myself. I'm in a blue state. And we have some of the worst people representing us on the national level, and it's just sad. They're so pro-abortion. They're so, ultra left in their views about everything. So I don't know how they get reelected. I don't know. You know why? Because we don't have people with money in this state that can that can finance their own campaign to wage a fight against them. If we had some wealthy people in Rhode Island who were conservative, like if they lived in Newport or Jamestown or some of our wealthier areas of the state, if we had like a wealthy person who had a lot of money to blow and was a real ardent conservative, then he could go against some of these guys. But we don't really. Anyone wealthy in Rhode Island is a liberal. And then you really don't need that much money because it'll snow money from the abortionists and from Massachusetts, from liberals in other parts of the country, to preserve these seats, because they know that no one in Rhode Island who's conservative really has enough money to go against them. So if you don't have the money to go against them, how are you going to win? Especially when, and then Republicans really don't want to blow a lot of money in Rhode Island. You might say, well, why doesn't the RNC, really snow money into Rhode Island? They just don't feel like they might think that it's bad money thrown after, it's just waste of money, because they just don't see the dividends of trying a big battle in Rhode Island. They'll battle in Ohio, and they'll battle in, in other swing states, but in Pennsylvania, actually, we have a Republican. There's a Republican senator from Pennsylvania, Toomey, who's from Rhode Island originally. He went to LaSalle Academy, and he's a great guy. And he made his fortune, in Pennsylvania, and then he ran as senator of Pennsylvania. But he's from Rhode Island. But as a Republican, if he lived in Rhode Island, Toomey would have no chance, of being a senator here. I think he may have figured that out, or maybe he went to school in Pennsylvania and stayed there. I can't remember. I think that's how it happened that he was, became the senator of the United States Senator of Pennsylvania. Angelo, great talking with you yesterday. Yes, Angelo, it was great. Glad you're doing well, and looking forward to the baptism and great things to come. So that's great. Joey D, we have to talk. I haven't talked to you in a while. It was your birthday recently. I saw it online. Too bad we didn't see each other and get together. I would have liked that, but we, still can do that. Let's see about that as I'm taking sips of my cappuccino. So if you have any questions or comments, or, please feel free to let me know, because I would be more than happy to discuss things with you that you might want to discuss. I'm glad to see that New York is finally having their 20% opening of indoor dining. That was pretty important. Hi, Giuseppe Guilino. Hope everything's going well. So that's really important. It's sad that those poor people weren't able to have their businesses open and have inside dining. And that's what I always say about churches, that, we can go, if you go into church with a mask on, you can take it off, like if you're at a restaurant, and then I would think, and then put it back on when you're ready to leave. But if people feel comfortable with it on, and that's fine, too. I don't know what the regulations are. Maybe I shouldn't have said that. But I mean, you should wear your mask, I guess, if you're in a crowded people, unless you're protesting. If you're protesting, you could be if you're Gina Raimondo too, you can go into the middle of the protest without a mask on. Or if you're Nancy Pelosi, you can go in the middle of you can go into a closed business, get your hair done and not have a mask on. But we have to kind of look at these situations. Pia is saying to me, telling me something in Italian. All right, thank you. So it was great to have a really active summer, where at the end of the summer, we were able to go to the beach and to, kind of do things that seemed a little more normal, like get together in functions with family members and a few close friends. Baptisms are starting again in the church, which is really good. I had 2 baptisms actually of teenagers that were supposed to be baptized at the Easter Vigil, but because of the Easter Vigil, they weren't able to be baptized then. So we're doing it now. And when the bishop comes late this month, we're going to have a beautiful ceremony where they're going to make their confirmation with the other confirmation kids, as well as there are about 8 others in that class that needed to make various sacraments that'll be able to do it. So that's something that we're always, happy about. It was just so strange, of course, not to have Easter, this year in church and to, be celebrating it alone or privately. It was something that was unfortunate, for us, but certainly where, like I said, I think gonna more and more get back to normalcy. So we have to just hang in there and really persevere in our faith. We had the gospel today that was very telling about loving your enemies and praying for your persecutors. It's about the most difficult thing that we can do in life is to do that, but it's important we do it. The 54-day novena prayer, I think, is going extremely well. I think today is the 27th day where we're going to start now the Thanksgiving. It's no longer going to be for the intention. Now we give thanks to God for the next 27 months. So 27 weeks. So I believe that starts today. So tune into that, and we'll see if that's the case. I think that so far it seems then that the novena is going very well, and certainly we need to pray and make sure you pray with me as well online, so that we can really have such a good positive outcome to the election, and not just win the presidency. I mean, that's really, really important, of course, but keeping the Senate and winning the House is really important too. Certainly keeping the Senate. If the president gets reelected, but the Senate flips and the House stays the same, they'll impeach him, and then he'll have to leave office. I really feel that it would be really problematic if they did that, considering how people might respond. I don't know what would happen to our country if for like these kinds of tactical political reasons they like they did last time, where there wasn't much evidence and it was sketchy and people were lying. But the firewall was the Senate. They weren't able to accomplish what they wanted to do in the House because the firewall was the Senate. You take the firewall away in the Senate, and now easily, I'm convinced that if the president gets reelected and the Senate flips and the House stays the same, I'm convinced that they will impeach him and they will be able to remove him as the president. And then I really fear what can happen to our nation if one political party tries to overturn an election. I can't imagine what would happen. So, that's why, for the sake of our country too, because of what these people are capable of, we really have to, really think of the Senate as well as important to pray for, that it doesn't flip, and that maybe even if the House flips, that could be really a tremendous thing, because now you have the Senate, you have the House, and you have the presidency, and you can do all kinds of tremendous things. I mean, the last 4 years, there were so many tremendous things that were done. Imagine with the House on our side, what we could accomplish. Restricting Planned Parenthood and, promoting great pro-life causes, and maybe even getting the right to know. The right to know is something we've always tried to do in Rhode Island, where, you ask that a woman would have to receive pamphlets and information, 24-hour waiting period, before getting an abortion, where she would look at the information and make a more educated decision rather than just doing it that particular day. So, that's really important. And that's something that we could maybe pass. So it's really good. I mean, I think there's a lot of good that can happen from it. That's why we have to continue to pray. Bailey, great to see you, Bailey. Glad you're watching. I haven't seen you in a while. Last time I saw you, I think it was June. when you were over, when I saw you over our friend's house. Hope you're doing well. Sorry I didn't see you when that time that my friend came. Like I said, it was kind of tired, but I'll certainly hopefully be in touch with you. Lillian, I'm not Lillian, Lilana. Great that you're watching. So hopefully you're able to have a coffee or a cappuccino or something with me. I know that coffee shops are open now, so that's a great thing that we're able to, socialize in coffee shops. I went a couple of times to Fresh Cup down the street over here, and so it's good that shops like that are opening now, and we're able to get back to some kind of normalcy. That's always something that's really important and really good. So we have a busy, a lot of work to do and a busy fall ahead of us, considering we were kind of had like such a slow spring and summer. Our kids are going back to school, which is a great thing. I hope they're able to, learn a lot in school and be in a more regular situation. It's just so sad to see these kids with masks on going into school, and it's really unfortunate. So we have to pray for them as they start school. Our catechism classes will be starting soon. Our convert classes will be starting soon too, that I teach. And I don't think I'm going to do them on Facebook, but I am going to have it on YouTube. So if you're interested in participating in my weekly classes for converts and for those who need to make their sacraments, you can find it on YouTube, which is on the YouTube channel of Immaculate Conception Parish in Westerly. So that's really important that that's how you can find it. My sister has joined me. Hello, Anne Marie. Call me, because I gotta tell you something. I tried calling you a couple of days ago, I guess, and maybe you tried calling me back and I wasn't around, but later on, give me a call, because I want to talk to you about something. But tell Olive I said hello. I haven't seen Francesca. I don't know. She's upstairs. These cats have their little spots that they like for a while, and then they change. She has a treehouse kind of perch looking out the window, and she was on that every day for her nap time. Now she has this rocking chair. I have this little wood rocking chair upstairs, and now she's on this little rocking chair. So they always have their little spots, and then it seems like they change them up every once in a while, and they go somewhere else. But we hope Olive is doing well. Olive is so cute. So anyway, so I hope everything else is going okay. We have as I said, the parish is really starting up, which is why I haven't been streaming as much morning prayer and evening prayer. It's been very difficult, because yesterday, like for example, I had literally one appointment after another. So I was just completely unable to breathe. I had a little breakfast and I had a little lunch, and from until 9 o'clock, from about 7:30 in the morning to 9 o'clock at night, I literally went from one thing to the other. Desk work I had to do that desperately needed to get done. So it's important that I get this work done. Before, I didn't have that kind of a schedule, so I could stream a lot more. Pray for our seminarians. We have a couple of seminarians from Rhode Island that went to Rome. They left a couple of weeks ago, so we're excited about that. Pray for also the seminarians that are in Providence. It's great that they will be studying for the priesthood. They're usually at Providence College. They live in the seminary and they attend Providence College, and for 4 years, getting their bachelor degree, and then they move on to a major seminary. Typically in Rhode Island, the major seminary is Boston. I went to Catholic U in DC, but I wasn't with the diocese at the time. But that's where I was sent, or I went to seminary. Other guys have been in Baltimore and Maryland, and another place in Maryland, Emmitsburg. So some have been to like St. Meinrad's, it's called, or Rochester when it was open. So, priests have gone to various places to study, and now we have two, like I said, that went to Rome. So pray for them, and especially Italy and what's happening there. We hope that, from what I understand, everything is going well. I talk to my priest friends from Italy, and they tell me, that things are kind of back to normal. I don't know if there was a spike there or not recently, but, we just have to, hope and pray that, they're able to stay safe and that recover. So we're praying for that as well. Also too, we have to hang in there and, especially not lose hope, and really know the importance of what our faith teaches, and try and, like I said, try and get back to Mass. I think it's really important. Anthony, great to see you that you're watching, Tedeschi. Try and get back to Mass. It's important. I know that we still have the bishop's decision to, not lift the mandatory Mass attendance, and that's, because we're still kind of needing to socially distance and Mass attendance. The churches can't have a certain amount of people in the church attending. So I understand that. But I would just propose that if you're going other places, if you're going into Walmart, and if, for a good half hour or so, or if you're going, other places, to the gym, and if you're doing other things that in your normal everyday life, then I would say, think about Mass, think about coming to Mass, because it's something that we could really, like I said, if you're going to other things and other venues and you feel pretty safe doing that, then, the same thing is true, I think, with Mass. You can feel pretty safe. You wear a mask, you come in, and just wash your hands. Just like I said, make sure that your hands are always clean. And, like I always say to our people who come to communion, we have a rail and they come and kneel for communion. It's so much better to receive on the tongue. It's because I never have touched a tongue. I have to say, one time it kind of happened a while ago, but it happened many more times touching the hand. So I'm constantly worrying about touching the hand, and it happens very, very frequently I touch the hand. So it's important then to I think receive on the tongue, and that way I think it's more sanitary, because your hands are cupped and it's much more difficult. Peter is telling me that URI requires masks. Yeah, I'm not surprised. I think most campuses do. When you're walking around, you probably have to wear it on campus, and I guess they're afraid that you're going to stop and talk to a friend or something, and then because you're talking to a friend, you're you don't have your mask on. So I guess they're thinking, put the mask on all the time so you don't have to worry about, droplets or something. I always think when someone sneezes nowadays, I feel so bad for them when they sneeze, because everyone's all hyped up about it. And, something as as before, it was something so common, to see someone sneeze or to be around somebody who sneezed. And now it's like everyone panics. So, that's kind of the state of where we're at right now. But I guess I would imagine, Peter, that most college campuses are wanting them to wear masks. And I'm sure there are virtual classrooms. And I'm wondering about that, Peter. Are some of your classes virtual? They might be. I know that there's someone else I know that goes to URI, and I think he said that some of them are virtual and some of them aren't. So it just depends. So so great. So I really appreciate you joining us, joining us together, having coffee, chatting. Today technically is now going to start my overnight day off. So you may see me praying the rosary. This is kind of, you may see me praying the rosary, and, in casual clothes and regular clothes and carrying the Colo Borghese. So, because I'm on my day off, but we will continue the rosary, and most classes are online. Wow, that's interesting, Peter. We will continue the rosary, and I think today, like I said, starts the 27th day that we give thanks now for 27 days. So have a great morning, have a great afternoon, a great day, and I'm looking forward to seeing you for our 54-day rosary. I'll let you know when it's going to happen, and I'll see you soon. All right. God bless. Have a good day. Have a good day. God bless.